My father demanded I hand over half my salary because I gave you life, so you owe me your success. When I declined, he publicly shamed me, announcing, I sacrificed everything for this ingrate. Family members pressured me to obey as he laughed, you can't say no to your own father. I smiled and revealed, funny, since I paid off all your debts, and now I own your house. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, in a modest neighborhood where everyone knew each other's business. My father, Robert, was a man of strong opinions and louder words. He believed that respect was earned through fear, not love. My mother, Margaret, was the opposite, gentle, kind, and always trying to keep the peace. From a young age, I understood that my father's approval was conditional. He'd often say, I gave you life, so you owe me your success. At first, I thought it was a joke, a way to motivate me. But as I got older, I realized he meant every word. I worked hard in school, not just to escape our home, but to prove to myself that I was more than his son. I earned a scholarship to Case Western Reserve University, majoring in computer science. College was my sanctuary. I immersed myself in my studies, took on internships, and even started freelancing to support myself. After graduation, I landed a job at a tech firm in San Francisco. The salary was decent, and the opportunities were endless. I was finally on my own, building a life away from my father's shadow. But freedom was short-lived. A month into my new job, I received a call from my father. Son, now that you're earning, it's time you start giving back. Send me half your salary. I was stunned. Why would I do that? Because I gave you life. You owe me. I explained that I had student loans, rent, and other expenses. He didn't care. To him, my success was his entitlement. When I refused, he exploded. You're ungrateful. After all I've done for you. He hung up, and I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Word spread through our family. At a gathering in Columbus, he stood up and declared, I sacrificed everything for this ingrate. He refuses to support his own father. Relatives whispered, casting judgmental glances my way. My Aunt Susan approached me, saying, family comes first. You should help your father. I felt cornered, but stood my ground. What my father didn't know was that during college, I had started investing in stocks and cryptocurrencies. By the time I graduated, I had a substantial portfolio. When my father defaulted on his mortgage, I saw an opportunity. I paid off his debts, ensuring the house was in my name. He remained unaware. At the next family gathering, as he continued his tirade, I calmly interrupted. Funny, since I paid off all your debts, and now I own your house. Silence enveloped the room. My father looked stunned, his face pale. Realizing his position, my father tried to negotiate, asking to remain in the house. I agreed, setting terms that he contribute to utilities and upkeep. Over time, our relationship improved. He began to understand the value of mutual respect. He didn't take the news well at first. That day I told him I owned the house. He went quiet. Not angry, not yelling, just quiet. He left the room, didn't say a word to anyone for the rest of the night. For a man like him, silence was more dangerous than rage. A week later, I got an email from a lawyer. It was from a local guy in Cleveland who said he was representing my father. He claimed that the house transfer was done under duress and that my father didn't have the full mental capacity to agree to such terms. That was a lie. My dad had no idea I'd paid the debts until after it was done. He hadn't signed a thing. The house was in foreclosure. I'd bought it out from the bank. I called the lawyer myself. You're wasting your time, I said. I have every document, every email from the bank, every payment record. The lawyer paused. Then he admitted my dad had been pressuring him to send something, anything, just to scare me. He advised me to get legal counsel of my own anyway, just in case my father escalated. So I did. I got a lawyer. A good one. 3 days later, my dad called me. So, you think you're smart, huh? He said. I don't think I'm smart. I just don't think I'm stupid. That was the beginning of another war. He went on a campaign. He called my uncles, my cousins, even people from church, telling them I tricked him, stole his house, left him homeless. The truth didn't matter to most of them. They'd known him for years. They believed him because he was loud, emotional, convincing. I started getting passive-aggressive texts. "Hope you're enjoying the blood money," one cousin wrote. Another told me, "You might be legally right, but morally, you're wrong." Then he started showing up at my mom's place. She and my father had divorced years ago, but they still saw each other from time to time. He'd go there and complain to her, yell in her living room, slam doors, and tell her she raised a heartless monster. My mom called me one night crying. "I don't know what to do anymore," she said. "He won't stop." I told her she didn't have to deal with it. I paid for a restraining order. She didn't want it at first, said it would make things worse. But she was scared. So we did it. That's when things turned physical. He showed up to the house, his old house, now mine, while I was visiting from San Francisco. I was in the driveway, on the phone with the plumber, and he pulled up fast, parked halfway on the grass. He stormed out of the car, came right at me. No hello, no warning. Just a push to my chest. "You think you can take everything from me?" he shouted. I didn't push back. I didn't even move. "Go ahead," I said. "Do it." "There's a camera right above the door. Let's make it easy for the cops." He froze, looked up at the small black dome near the front door, said nothing, got back in his car and drove away. I filed a report. My lawyer documented everything. Then came the twist. A month later, I got a call from a man named Charles. He said he was an accountant. My father's accountant, more specifically. He said he had something important to share and asked if we could meet in person. I didn't trust it, but I flew back to Cleveland and met him at a quiet diner on the west side. He brought a folder, opened it slowly, placed a few documents on the table. Tax records, debt files, letters from creditors. "He's not just broke," Charles said. "He's hiding money." Turns out my father had multiple credit cards under false names. He'd been taking out payday loans, gambling, and using a P.O. box to hide the statements. He owed tens of thousands, but not because of me or the house, or anything to do with our family. He was in deep with some dangerous people. Charles told me he came forward because he knew my father would eventually drag me into it. If anything happened to him, those people would come looking. And if I legally owned the house, they might come knocking there too. I left that meeting sick to my stomach. This wasn't just about family anymore. It was something bigger. Something darker. And then, my father disappeared. He stopped answering calls. His phone was off. His car was gone. No one knew where he went. I was left with a house, a paper trail of shady debt, and the looming question, what the hell did he get himself into? 2 weeks passed with no word from my father. No texts, no angry voicemails, no social media rants. That silence wasn't like him. Even in his worst moods, he'd never just go dark. At first, I thought maybe he was laying low because of the restraining order and the debt mess. But then I got a call from the Cleveland Police Department. They found his car. It had been abandoned in an empty lot on the east side. Keys still in the ignition, doors unlocked. Inside, they found an envelope addressed to me. Handwritten. No postage. Just "for my son" scrawled in thick black pen across the front. They sent it to me through my lawyer. It wasn't a suicide note. Not even close. It was more like a half apology, half justification for everything he'd done. He talked about protecting me from the people he owed money to, said he made some deals to keep me safe, and that if anything happened to him, I needed to check the red toolbox in the basement. He ended the note with, "Don't sell the house. There's more in it than you know." I flew back to Cleveland the next morning. I hadn't planned to stay long, but after reading that note, I couldn't ignore it. I went straight to the basement. The red toolbox was right where I remembered it, rusty, dented, and heavy as hell. It was locked. I smashed the latch with a hammer and opened it. Inside were 2 thick envelopes full of old documents. Fake IDs, burner phone receipts, and pictures of people I didn't know. Notes with dollar amounts, addresses, and dates. Some of the papers were in Spanish, some in Russian. It didn't make any sense. Then I found something else, a small, sealed package with a label that read "Backup" in my father's handwriting. I opened it. Inside was a USB drive and a prepaid debit card. The drive was encrypted. My buddy from college, who now works cybersecurity, helped me crack it. It contained folders full of transaction histories, mostly in crypto, dozens of wallet addresses, some with balances in the six-figure range, and a text file labeled "Dead Man's Switch." It was a written explanation. Turns out my father had been working as a middleman in a cross-border gambling operation that laundered money through crypto exchanges. He wasn't just in debt, he was part of the machine. He never told anyone because he figured he'd get out clean. But clearly, that didn't happen. That's when I realized something else. The deed transfer on the house? It wasn't just me helping him out of foreclosure. It was him protecting an asset. If he died or disappeared, they'd come looking for his stuff, and the house had to be in someone else's name. He made me the fall guy. Or maybe the decoy. I started getting calls from strange numbers. One voicemail said, "Tell Robert he owes us. You're his blood." That means something. I filed police reports, got more cameras installed, even stayed in a hotel for a few days. Then came the biggest twist of all. My mom called me, panicked. "He's here. He just showed up." He wasn't dead. He wasn't missing. He had been hiding. I drove straight to her house, heart racing. When I got there, he was sitting at the kitchen table like nothing had happened. Looked thinner, tired, and like he hadn't slept in days. "I had to disappear," he said. "They were coming. But I couldn't stay gone." He asked if I found the red toolbox. I told him I did. He nodded slowly. "Good. Because we're not safe. You're not safe." Apparently, he'd been hiding in a friend's garage in Lorraine, living off cash and gas station snacks. He said the people he worked for weren't just gangsters, they were connected. He tried to walk away, but no one walks away. "I only came back because they think I'm dead," he said. "But if they find out I'm not, it's not just me they'll come for." So now I'm sitting in my old house, back in Cleveland, with a father I don't trust, documents I don't understand, and people who might be watching. I own the house, but I'm not sure I own my life anymore. I didn't sleep the first night he came back. I sat in the dark living room, staring at the front door, gun on the coffee table. Not because I thought he'd hurt me, but because I didn't know who else might come. The next morning, I told him we had to go to the police. He refused. "They can't help us," he said. "These guys, they pay cops. They pay judges." I didn't believe him. Not completely. But I knew enough now not to trust the system blindly. I stayed in Cleveland. Started working remotely. Changed my number. Every few days, my dad would tell me something new, like how they use churches to move cash, how gambling rings in Ohio connected to others in New Jersey and Florida. He had names, places, even voice recordings on his burner phone. But he wouldn't go public. Wouldn't go to the FBI. "It'll blow back on you," he said. "They'll dig into your life." One night, I found him in the garage, tearing apart the walls. "They hid something here," he said. "Before I sold out to them, before I started moving crypto." He was sweating, panicked. Like a man trying to claw his way out of a coffin. That's when I knew he wasn't just scared, he was guilty. Of everything. For years, I'd blamed him for being selfish, controlling, a narcissist. But it was deeper than that. He'd built his life around lies. He'd used people, betrayed friends, stole money from my mother's side of the family, things I never knew until now. He said he wanted to make it right. Said we'd go to the feds. I wanted to believe him. I even helped him organize the files on the USB drive, write out statements. 2 days later, he was gone again. Disappeared from the house. No note. No warning. His burner phone was in the trash. All the files we'd prepared were deleted from the USB. I checked the security footage. Nothing. Then I saw it. Around 3 a.m., a black SUV pulled up outside. 2 men got out. No plates on the vehicle. They walked right to the door. He opened it like he was expecting them. Shook their hands. Left with them. Voluntarily. That's when it hit me. He sold me out. I was the backup plan. The pawn. He never meant to fix anything. He just wanted to buy himself more time. Use me one last time. He left behind one thing, though. A small key hidden in the fireplace behind a loose brick. No tag. Just taped in a sandwich bag. I didn't even know what it opened until I remembered an old storage unit he used to rent when I was a kid. I drove out there, showed the key. It opened a safe. Inside were 3 things: a thick envelope of cash, a photo of him holding me as a baby, and a letter. If you're reading this, I didn't make it. I'm sorry for all the damage. I should have protected you, not dragged you into this. I was weak. I always was. I gave you life, but I poisoned it too. The only thing I leave you with now is a choice. Bury this, or burn them all. That was it. I stared at the letter for hours. Drove home. Looked at all the evidence. I still had copies of crypto trails, names, recordings. I remembered every cousin who called me a thief. Every friend who said he's still your dad. Every time I was made to feel guilty for walking my own path. I chose to burn them. Not literally. I sent everything to an FBI field office anonymously, through a VPN, secure cloud drops, fake burner emails. All of it. Every file, every account, every voice note. I didn't want justice. I wanted exposure. I wanted these people to be afraid like they made me afraid. 3 weeks later, it hit the news. Mass arrests. Gambling rings busted. Money laundering operations unraveled across 3 states. Some names I recognized. Some I didn't. But I knew one thing. He wasn't on the list. No arrest. No body. No trace. Maybe he ran again. Maybe he was dead. Maybe the people he worked for buried him deep enough that no one would find him. I don't care anymore. He used my life like it was spare change in his pocket. But he forgot I kept the receipt. He said I owed him my success. Now he owes me peace. And he'll never be able to pay it back.